I may have mentioned this a while ago on the show. You saying, "Is it bad?" reminded me. Did I tell you about what a friend of mine encountered, like this old woman in his old apartment parking lot who got injured, and he saw. So basically, this happened a few years ago, and one of my close friends, shout out Matt, and he was telling us all this story, and he lived on the second floor of this apartment building, and it was just a small, like, second floor and first floor, and it was a very snowy day of December or something, and he said there was this, like, really nice old lady that lived near him, and just, like, in passing would say hello and all that, and he said he was going out to leave one day, and he sees this woman like struggling to get to her car, and so he like takes her and like walks her up to the like handle and all that shit to like get her there, and then he says he turns around and she's like, "Oh, thank you so much, Matthew, I appreciate it," and he's like, "Oh, no problem, ma'am, take care, be careful out there, you know, roads are dangerous." And he said he turned around and started walking to his car, and he heard a sickening crack. Oh, and this old woman had fallen, and he doesn't handle blood and stuff very well. And so he said that she had fallen and compound fractured, like shattered her leg right there in between two cars. And he walked back to check, and he says he had to like hold on to the car because he started to feel like he was going to vomit because she was all like crumpled up like a dead spider with a shattered leg there. And it stuck with me and made me laugh because he was standing there and he goes, and like I was just trying to think, like, how do I keep it from being so horrible? And so she kept yelling, she kept going, "Oh, Matt, is it bad? Is it bad?" And I just kept looking at her and going, "No, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not that bad." And so I had to call an ambulance and have them go there. And so I was like dry heaving, trying not to vomit as her leg was shattered, and she kept screaming, "Is it bad?" And dude, guys, it was so bad. And I kept telling, so like, yeah, he said he didn't see her anymore. So I guess
Matt, you suck.
he got her to the handle.
I bet Matt. You know what? I'm gonna make a business. I bet Matt doesn't throw things well either.
Well, I'll have to check with him.
If you had Matt throw you a baseball at the beginning of your friendship, you'd have weeded out someone who's not.
That'd have been a grounder.
It would have been like
just
Bart
like she
Lisa.
was.
Bart Lisa, you throw like a girl. Yeah, you throw like me.
Yeah.
My dad reacted poorly to a situation like that one time. We were changing light bulbs in a building, and we had this guy working for us, JD Hancock. He was much older than me. He was probably 50. And he was going up and down the ladder, changing light bulbs, going through the building, lots of light bulbs. And he falls off the ladder, hits the ground, having a seizure. Oof. I did not know he could have a seizure. I had never seen that happen before. My father did not know that he had ever had a seizure before. Neither of us in our lifetimes have ever seen a man have a seizure. My dad's 50, 55, and I'm like 16. Younger. I'm 14. And I'm down there like holding his shoulders down, like, and Dad's like, ooh. Because Dad thinks that black man is dying on my floor. This is going to be a problem. Oh no. Dad is scared that someone has died and he's going to be like liable somehow. And I'm like, hang in there.
You're okay. Stop trying to eat your tongue.
JD couldn't work for us anymore after that. It was scary because like now what if he starts seizing up on a goddamn tractor and like spears me with a hay fork?
You shouldn't work on ladders if you have a seizure problem.
A crazy story one time. When I was married a lifetime ago. Me and the wife were driving home on the highway from a dinner, what have you, and everything. And it's kind of raining, kind of not, and stuff like this. So I'm driving and I see a bunch of clothes up ahead on the highway type of thing, then I see another, like a garbage bag bundle of clothes or something like that. And then my wife goes, "What is that?" And I go, "Oh, look, something fell off a pickup truck or something." And I get closer. There's a BMW upside down in the ditch, down on the right. And I go, "Are those bodies?" And I go, "Holy Jesus." And I go, okay. We gotta do something. And I put my hazards on. I go to the side of the road. There's still cars coming up the highway and stuff. You can see smoke starting to come up from them. Like this just happened seconds before we got there. Damn. And I tell my ex, okay, you check that one. I'll check that one over there. We go over there and
get the wallets.
This guy's on the highway, laid out, legs all over the place. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm checking a pulse. She's checking a pulse. I'm saying he's alive. This one's not breathing properly. There's like someone in the ditch, cars halfway on him and stuff. And it was a crazy, like you could not tell those were people on the road. Like if I would, you know what I mean? Like it's like, if I wasn't paying attention, you would have easily just run right over it. You know what I mean? Wow. And I'm like,
God damn.
I still can see them. This was like late 90s, and I can still see it vividly in my head. It's like, my ex used to work in a hospital, so we, and I kept my cool and stuff, and we were checking them out, making sure they're okay until the first responders came. But it was like the most gruesome, weirdest thing I ever saw. And it, and oof. I never found out what happened to those people in the long run. But by the time the ambulance and fire got there, we left because we had a babysitter at home.
But none of them were dead when you were there.
Someone else checked the guy who was under the car, so I didn't see that guy. I just stayed with the person I was with. So I don't know, but
were you pretty shook up?
I was. Yeah, I was. But I was also horny after it ended. It made no sense. I don't know if it was the adrenaline or what, but we were both like banging like crazy after we got home.
Something about seeing those bodies, white people all tangled up back there.
Now my ex was white, so don't go down that road.
Yeah, put your legs back like hers were.
Oh Jesus!
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. Stop moving.
The birth of a new king. Stop moving.
Just hold your breath. Hold your breath.
Hang on, baby. Let me get the mood lighting right. You hit a road flare.
Gurgle like he did.
Can you snore?
Get in the way of someone who got knocked out at a bar.
Oh,
that kind of snore.
Just as common as children. Did y'all have any kids that went to school with you who had grease poured on them?
Grease poured on, as a punishment.
Like it accidentally had it comes off the counter, kid gets scalded with grease, and now they have like a grease scar on them.
Permanent scar like right here or something.
Similar.
Yeah.
They you know what? And it scared me as a parent. So all they had was a really hot cup of coffee. And this kid was 2, and it could walk, it was a stupid 2-year-old, and it pulled the coffee off the kitchen counter onto himself. And he had bad burns on the side of his face and like his shoulder and into his chest. Yeah. So when I met the kid,
poor kid,
he was like 4, and he had what I'll describe as like a wetsuit top on that he wore all the time as part of his skin healing process. He came from a wealthy family, so he was getting some good medical care.
Little scuba Steve over
there. His father owned
an
oil company.
His father owned an oil company.
You going diving today, Steve? Shut up. I'm all burnt up from the coffee.
I'm all burnt up from the
you,
coffee.
Steve. Your dad owns 8 gas stations. Hope you turn into a Batman villain.
Jesus Christ.
What would his name be? Like Grease Lightning or something.
Jesus.
I was going to go to Slip and Cheat, but that's just Grease Lightning. No, there was a kid at my school, and he had been all burnt up by grease. And I remembered like in elementary school, and I made note of that. There's a few like memories I have in my life where it feels like I mentally put up a signpost that I could look back and see brightly from any point in the future. And there was a moment where I went, grease is incredibly dangerous and must be respected, just like firearms and like threshers. And later on, I'll tell you, when I was in high school, I put up a road sign about metal lathes because I worked in a machine shop, and we had one in high school, and he showed us a video of what it could do to a man, getting sucked in by your hair and torn apart. And then you looked at this piece of machinery and you found that it had more power than you could comprehend. Like it turned anything, it could tear anything apart that you could put in it. And it's like, okay, signpost. respect to this.
Yeah.
If you don't do that throughout your life, you'll eventually like fall into a thresher or something.
Most of the machines in my life, like if I grab them, they stop. If I get sucked into my vacuum cleaner, it gets stopped.
Yeah,
if I get hit by my ceiling fan, I don't like it, but the ceiling fan stops.
Yeah.
My tractor, for example, a human offers no resistance that the tractor takes notice of. And like Kyle said, respect that thing.
Yeah, so I put that grease respect there, and like, because I saw that kid all burnt up and scarred, and like it or not, like maybe not in everybody else's mind, but I was like, all right, well, like I don't want to be around you because you're like an other now. Like I don't. You're like a freak. I don't want to be around you. I won't say exactly how I knew this other person, but my mom used to make me go play with this kid who had all these like physical deformities. He was like missing some fingers. Like multiple fingers. One hand was like 2 or 3 fingers, and his face was really ugly. Like, I don't mean he was like a 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10. I mean, his face was scary. It frightened me a little.
So was this an accident thing or born with it thing?
Born that way. And I remember telling her, like, I don't want to go. He's fucking scary to look at. I can't look at him in the face. And when I shook his hand, his fucking weird fingers felt weird. I don't want to go. And she's like, shit. Okay, you don't have to go. I was like, because I wasn't gonna go anymore. Like I met this kid before, and they're like, yeah, play with Billy No Fingers. And it's just like, fuck, no, I don't ever want to come back here again. I don't care how many toys this fucker has. I don't give a shit, man. That kid, no. It scared me as a kid. Go find somebody else who isn't frightened of him.
I had a friend when I was a kid. He was my mom's friend's son.
I'm still scared.
What is
he's
CP?
out there?
What is the mental disorder? Like CP? What is this?
CP?
No, it's not cystic fibrosis. It's cerebral palsy. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
And anyway, so he had cerebral palsy, and I guess his parents were wealthy because his toy collection was outrageous. And the nature of his cerebral palsy, he was in a wheelchair, and his wrists were always bent, like sharply.
You were saying greasy.
He had Legos that like every shelf, everything, and not just any Legos, but like the baller Legos, like Death Stars or something like that. Like and I'm like, they say you did all this, yet they feed you. Like, how did you put all these Legos together? I'm 7 and I see through this ruse.
Yeah.
They were trying to Helen Keller you, and at that age, you could still see through the bullshit. You're like, no, I couldn't put together the Millennium Falcon. There's no way this dummy did it. Like,
oh, that was another thing. He got like really good grades in school. He got hundreds on everything, and they're like, he's such a genius. And I'm like, does no one else see his handler taking his tests for him? I can see it from my seat. Like everyone just pretending that the woman who, like, he's a personal tutor, so he's getting some extra help, but also they're like co-taking tests together.
Taylor,
co-taking tests.
You know that young man's name? Joe Biden.
What? Joe Biden. That's Joe Biden.
That's what he was.
They feed him.
They're in school.
No one seems to notice his diminished capacity.
They just pop a pen in his
show
mouth.
You things that he's, look what Joe did. I don't know if Joe did that or not. I don't know. No, he did it. Joe's over there walking like Mr. Burns. Like, no.
That's funny. When there's ever like a post on social media or anything, and it's like from Joe Biden, it's like,
nah.
I'm sure. Like, I'm sure he's sitting there saying anything. That dude is eating ice cream with having his the corner of his mouth dabbed off right now.